Welcome back. This is actually a different project. Let's get this out of here. Okay, so this is a follow-up review of none other than the Dart Zone Pro. Yes, I have received my replacement MK2 blaster, and let me say, it's amazing. Now, obviously, a lot of other people have been getting their Dart Zone Pros. A lot of reviews have been hitting, different channels out there. Obviously, I've been kind of watching other people's after I did my first review. So, obviously, due to holiday seasons, it took me a little bit of time, and I was kind of afraid of it, that this was going to come back. I will say, Dart Zone has really good customer service. If for some reason you believe that their blasters are having suboptimal performance, feel free to reach out to them. Actually, they do have a little card in their thing that says to reply to them through their dartzone@primetimetoys.com. I would suggest doing it. Seriously, they took care of me. They were very courteous. I loved talking with them on the emails. I did tell them some information and some data that I had on the blaster, and they even were saying that they were willing to send that off for quality checks. So they do take an interest in any problems they are seeing with the blasters. Now, obviously, this is a little bit of a different review because a lot of people want to just talk about what's in the box, and they want to go about, all the features and all of that stuff. And I think there's plenty of videos out there kind of going over that information. I don't really want to go over that. I want to go over more of the customer service side of this, and then the blaster that I received back from them. Now, when I first got it in, I am super critiquing of my products when I receive them, such as there's a slight gap right here. I'm not really sure what's going on with the top of the prime, but there is a bit of a gap right here in between the plastics. I'm not quite sure. It's almost like maybe the screw needs to be tightened down more. I'm not sure. I mean, you can try that right now, just to see, because it seems strange that it wasn't quite closing up. And see, that's fascinating to me, that this was not tightened down all the way. So this is something I haven't changed since I got this out of the box. I've already done some firing on it, but this was the initial things that I was coming across. One of the other interesting things, and you can't really see it on camera, but I'll show an image right here, is in the barrel. Now, I have two locations on the barrel that there is what looks to be like rust, but it's not rust. These are aluminum barrels. They do not rust. They are anodized, because if you have seen other reviewers' videos, they show that these are anodized barrels. I was informed by some other people in some of the groups that I'm in that it's pretty standard. A lot of other blasters from Dart Zone Pro have these particular markings, usually from what we believe is the anodizing process. So these are a couple of little fiddly things that I've noticed about the blaster. However, that does not change the performance of this thing. Now, my initial review, we were getting suboptimal numbers. We were getting no higher than 120s. No matter what dart I was shooting, whether it was the bamboos, the pro darts, I mean, anything I was putting through it, I really wasn't getting very high numbers. This one changes it. Let's go take a look at the numbers actually right now. Okay, if that's not going to show you something a little fascinating. When I got this and I ran some of my first numbers, with the bamboos, was shooting 138, 140s with bamboos, and I was blown away because no other reviewer was seeing these kinds of numbers. And I jokingly sent a photo on my Instagram tagging Dart Zone and Primetime Toys and asked them if they tuned my blaster. Obviously, I'm too small. They haven't replied to me. You know, it was kind of in a joking manner, but really, I don't know what the heck they did to this particular blaster that I'm getting such phenomenal numbers. Obviously, when you look at the video, my bamboos are shooting up into the 140s almost. My Adventure Force Pros, I got into the 160s. That's nuts. I don't know. Like I said, I don't 100% know what they did. I don't know if this is a tuned blaster. Somebody in my past video in the comment section did mention, you know, they believed that reviewers are getting tuned blasters. And I don't believe that's the case. I really don't, because like I said, in that video as well, people who are just getting these, you know, for themselves are seeing pretty fascinating numbers. Like they're seeing really, really good numbers out of the box. And then there are some that do not, such as myself. There's nothing to be seen in the blaster. I didn't have O-ring material left on the breech like I did when I did my first review. There wasn't a kind of an over excess of lubrication in it. The O-ring seems to be in fairly good shape. So I don't really know what's going on. Now, the one thing I will say is the little dart gate that's on the pusher seems to be a little bit cleaner on this one. The other ones seem to have a little bit more flashing on it. And if you don't know what flashing is, that's usually there's a seam line and the plastic will tend to seep through that seam line. So I don't know if maybe there was some issues with quality check, and maybe that could have been part of the reason. I'm still not 100% sure. Now, I did tell them when I was talking to the customer service to check their springs, because when you don't know about springs and the tempering processes and if they were to get different manufacturers, the springs in here will have varying differences, you know, in a lot of cases. And this thing fires exceptionally harder than the other one did. I could very well see and hear and feel that this one is hitting slightly harder. This is why I believed it was something to do with the springs. So if you do get one of these and you do have a similar problem like I did, reach out to their customer service. They're doing very well. They shipped it out. I believe their facilities was in Tennessee. So depending on where you are, and obviously due to, you know, blizzards and holiday seasons, stuff picking up or, you know, starting to calm down, but still, as they're still trying to work through a lot of that stuff, it will take, you know, a couple of weeks to get it back. But if you are seeing these low numbers, contact them. They are taking a huge interest in our, you know, quality assurance of our blasters, especially when you think of the fact that the price tag on this was high enough. It was, now to me, this blaster is worth everything I paid for it. And even then some. Like, it's a good blaster. I want you to know that it's worth it. It is 100% worth it. If you are in doubt of purchasing one because you've seen these low numbers, you know, rest assured that there is a good customer service that is willing to look into this for quality assurance. And then, you know, maybe we can look at it as we are potentially the test mules. That might very well be the case. I'm not 100% sure on that. I would hate to think that's the case, but we've seen that a lot of companies tend to push product off onto the customers that aren't necessarily finished, and then we have to do some of the testing. So maybe this is their testing of this market, of this size, of some new form factors that are within it, and how they can optimize it. And they're relying on our feedback and potentially our low performance blasters to see where their issues can be fixed and remedied for a later release, maybe a MK2.1 or something along those lines. I do feel like I'm rambling a little bit. I feel like I'm kind of going a little bit further into depth than I was expecting, but I have a lot of plans for this thing. It hits really good as it is. I'm almost afraid to do anything with it. It looks like Luchathor beat me to a plan I was having. I had already started doing the work on it before I sent my blaster, so I'm a little bit frustrated because this was my worker scar that I was going to hide within my barrel extension in here, and I was going to slightly extend the barrel a little bit further. And of course, Walcom and Luchasaur beat me to it. That's what happens when you got to send your blasters back. Anyway, this is definitely a different type of review. I hope you got some information out of it. I hope that it was worth it to you. And that if you were afraid to pull the trigger on it, at least know that if you do, you are in good hands. They are definitely taking an interest in us. Thanks for watching. Hey, if you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and come check me out over on Twitch to keep up to date on my current mods I'm working on. I hope to see you there sometime.